Good morning. Welcome to this online service of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Arlington, Virginia. I'm Amy Shepard, a member of the Board of Trustees, and I am happy to be joining you today, both through this recording and I'm watching in person. I, like hopefully all of you, did not go down to the tidal basin this year to watch the cherry blossoms bloom, so I am bringing you some from my backyard. Seeing the trees in bloom around the neighborhood, as well as the flowers like the daffodils that are beginning to open, is a gentle reminder that spring is on its way, and that every year winter practices its own form of social distancing, only to give way to an explosion of color in the spring, and unfortunately for some of us, pollen as well, and then transform into summer's nourishing greens. As we stay 6 feet apart and wash our hands, let's remember that during this time of social distancing, it will pass as well. In the meantime, we can be physically distant and socially different. We can maintain our connection through the many activities UUCA is offering during the week through Zoom meetings. This Sunday service recharges me every week, but it's just one of the many offerings that UUCA is providing to keep our connection strong. You don't have to wait for Sunday to get your UUCA fix. I'm very proud and filled with gratitude that we can be the church and do our part through things like this online service that contribute to community care. So let us be together in spirit, and if you like, by sharing comments, likes, and loves in the comment section next to the video during this online service. This is a great way to support each other, to show each other our appreciation and connect in this time that we are together online. Let that connection recharge you today, tomorrow, and until we are able to be together again. Happy spring!
We arrive, each of us jostled and distracted, carrying clouds of worry and of fear. We come to center ourselves once more, to touch again that place inside where we are most at home with who we have become, to find that place of calm where we're not isolated from one another, to reweave the unraveling fabric of community, to reconnect with the larger human family, to remind ourselves that we belong, and to remember what it is we belong to. We come to reaffirm those values that we would have find their ways into our lives and our relationships, to choose again our better selves in the ways we know of peace and of gentleness and of joy. We come to center ourselves, to open ourselves, to remember ourselves, to celebrate the life we share together. These are indeed days full of fear and worry and anxiety about what may come, so much that we do not know. But these days have also brought us reminders of incredible gifts that we have among us, the incredible gifts of this community. It is so moving to me to see how people have stepped up to reach out to one another, how we still want to show up and be together even if it has to be virtually, to show over and over again how much this community means to us, to others, to everyone. This community is full of great gifts, and you will hear some of those in this service this morning. You will hear women among us who are sharing their wisdom, sharing their reflections, sharing their hopes and dreams for what may come. I know you will be inspired. I know you will be moved. And I know how wonderful it will be to experience this community together once again. So let us worship.
Hey everybody, my name is Camila.
And my name's Carmen.
Today we will be reading you a story called We Are Not Afraid. A long time ago, way before you were born, maybe about the time your parents were little kids, there was a special school called Highlander Folk School. Highlander was in Tennessee in the South. The whole school was nothing more than a few buildings set up on a beautiful hill surrounded by green forests and farm fields. The people at Highlander believe that all people are equal, that all people should be allowed to go to school, and that the most important thing, people need to learn how to work together and love one another. Believe it or not, back then, African Americans and white people were not allowed to go to the same schools or even eat in the same cafeterias or get married to one another if they fell in love. But Miles Horton, the man who started the school, believed that was nonsense. He thought all kinds of people of all kinds of colors and from all kinds of backgrounds should be able to work, play, and go to school together. A lot of famous people were students at Highlander, including Rosa Parks and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So although it was against the law back then for African Americans and white people to attend the same school, there were also people of all colors at Highlander, learning and playing and working together. One of the things they liked to do the most at Highlander was to make music. At one time, a big choir of African Americans visited from Atlanta, Georgia, and they stayed at Highlander.
One night, all the kids were watching a movie in the main hall. The lights were out so everybody could see the movie better. All of a sudden, several big cars roared up to the school, and a lot of men with guns got out and barged inside. No one knew who the men were, but it was obvious they meant trouble. They were mad that African American kids and white kids get to go to the same school. As the men stormed into the Highlander Folk School, somebody turned off the movie projector. The whole place went completely dark. The men with the guns really quickly realized they had made a big mistake. None of them had been inside the school, so none of them knew where the light switch were. And on top of that, they had forgotten to bring the flashlight. So they roared and yelled at the kids, "Turn on the light!" None of the kids moved a muscle. Then in the darkness, the kids began to sing. They sang a song called "We Shall Overcome," a very famous song often sung by people who believe that people of all colors can live together in harmony. The words go like this:
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. There are more words about walking hand in hand, being free, and all being together the whole wide world around. In the scariest of all situations, those kids made up their own words too. To the men with guns, they sang, "We are not afraid. We are not afraid. We are not afraid today. Oh, deep in my heart, I still believe we are not
be the scared ones, but now the grown-ups with the weapons were starting to feel a little nervous. After some more fumbling around, they just gave up and ran back to their cars and drove away.
Those kids learned something important that night. They learned how strong and brave they could be if they stuck together. And the words they sang that night have been a permanent part of the song ever since. Thanks, everybody. Please stay strong, and remember, this too shall pass.
Also, remember, it doesn't matter about your skin color. Fight for your rights. Enjoy the rest of your day. See you soon. Bye.
From Maya Angelou. Continue. My wish for you is that you continue. Continue to be who and how you are, to astonish a mean world with your acts of kindness. Continue to allow humor to lighten the burden of your tender heart. Continue in a society dark with cruelty to let the people hear the grandeur of God in the peals of your laughter. Continue to let your eloquence elevate the people to heights they had only imagined. Continue to remind the people that each is as good as the other and that no one is beneath nor above you. Continue.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
A few months ago, I was using a set of tarot cards to help me focus on a spiritual challenge I was having. This is a practice that I've adopted over the past year that I learned from some of the other young adults here at UUCA. Regardless, I hold the deck in my hands and I think of a particular question that I'm struggling with. Then I choose the card that feels right to me, and I take some time to reflect on the meaning of that card and what I might be able to take away from it. Most of the time, this gives me food for thought, but in this particular instance, I had one of those moments of blinding clarity. When was the last time you felt real, true joy? Not content, not happy or satisfied, but real joy. This particular spiritual exercise made me realize that I couldn't easily answer that question. In our fast-paced world, and particularly in this area, we often get wrapped up in routine and doing and achieving and going. We race from work to the gym, to the Civic Association meeting, to home, to do it all over again the next day and the next week and the next month. In this whirl of activity and action, it's so easy to distract ourselves and to detach from what our inner selves are seeking. I am certainly guilty of this. I'm always trying to squeeze one more thing onto the calendar, fit one more thing into those hours of the day. If you're familiar with StrengthsFinder, it shouldn't surprise you to find out that my top strength is achiever. I really like to check things off my to-do list. And I feel a sense of deep discomfort when I'm not productive in a given day or week. So here we are, in the age of social distancing and sheltering in place, where everything is closed and many parts of our lives have gone still. I'm so grateful to have a job that I can do remotely, but my non-work calendar is suddenly empty. We've all been snapped rather abruptly out of our routines, and we're all working to define what the new normal looks like for us. As all of this was happening, this question about joy kept burrowing in the back of my mind. As the past few weeks unfolded, I've started to really examine what it would look like to have a routine that actually sparked joy in me, to borrow from Marie Kondo. What if, instead of tackling my closet, I tidied up my life? Now, I know that some things just need to happen. Taking out the garbage and eating my recommended servings of fruits and vegetables will probably never bring me true joy. But there are plenty of spaces in my life that are filled with should-dos that I could reassess. And I'm not doing all of this to try to avoid reality. I'm also watching everything unfolding across the country and across the world. And I'm alternately horrified and anxious and encouraged and angry and helpless, sometimes all at the same time. I worry for those I love and those I don't know, and I feel like I'm observing both the best and worst of what it means to be an American. On one hand, I'm seeing communities rally together to help those in need, and my own neighborhood message board is filled with offers of assistance and support. But on the other hand, I fear for the decisions that may be made in the long term when the economic cost and the cost of human life are put on opposite sides of the scale. Like so many others, I'm trying to contribute where I can, both professionally and personally, to help mitigate the impacts of the pandemic. But I believe that we all have the capacity to embrace two concepts that seem diametrically opposed: finding joy and holding tragedy. We don't have to choose between those two things. We can, and I think we must, find those bright spots in the world and in our own lives. We have a unique opportunity to truly assess what is important to us. And as we walk through this tunnel of dark times, we can use that joy as our light at the end of that tunnel. Things will not be the same for some time if they ever go back to how they were before, but we can embrace that instead of fearing it. We can take those brief moments to choose joy, to pursue with intention something better and something true to ourselves. So in the past weeks, I've been practicing this quest of what brings joy to me. I've been taking daily walks with my spouse each evening, wandering down new streets in our neighborhood and noticing all of the houses with brightly painted doors. I spent 2 hours on a Zoom call reconnecting with high school friends who I haven't seen in months. I've watched Bob Ross each night with no intention of ever picking up a paintbrush, just to revel in his excitement. I have spent more hours than I care to admit looking at cute pictures and videos of dogs on Reddit. Not all of these pursuits have brought me joy, but the intentional practice of looking for joy has made me feel calmer and more grounded. It feels like something I can do, something I can control in this chaotic and unpredictable time. I hope that in the coming weeks, you can also find some time to explore what brings you joy. Maybe it's listening to music that uplifts you. Maybe it's stealing a few minutes behind a closed bathroom door to breathe deeply. Maybe it's dancing with your kids or your roommate in the living room. Maybe it's trying to bake bread for the first time, though I hope you've already bought your flour if you want to do that. Maybe it's reaching out to someone who could use encouragement. Whatever it is, I hope you will continue to pursue and spread the light of joy in these dark times. UUCA is recognized throughout Northern Virginia as an activist congregation. We make a difference in people's lives by advocating, organizing, volunteering, and sharing our space and resources, and by giving our financial support. As is our custom, we share 70% of our plate offering with partner organizations that are doing good work on our behalf, both within our community and around the world. The money collected for our offering will collectively support our partners' ongoing work, amplify the voices of people in the margins to bring more justice and peace to the world. One such organization is Equality Virginia, the leading advocacy organization in Virginia seeking equality for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people. Recently, Equality recognized their 2020 Outstanding Virginians, which included our congregation's own Elizabeth Fogarty. Elizabeth served for 4 years on Equality Virginia's board of directors, saying, "Serving on the board was a wonderful way to connect all the dots between PFLAG, UUCA, and other faith communities, and Equality Virginia. As parents, we want our children to be safe, healthy, and happy. Truly welcoming faith communities understand that welcome within a faith community isn't meaningful if we don't also work for equality outside our doors." And with Equality Virginia leading the way for LGBTQ equality across Virginia, it brought it all together. Thank you, Elizabeth, for your example and inspiration. With many ways we can give to UUCA. First, you can always mail or drop off the check payable to UUCA with the word offering in the memo line. Second, you can give online at the church website, www.uucava.org. Click on the donate button at the top of the page. Finally, you can donate using the mobile app Give Plus. Enter the zip code 22204 and choose our church, UUCA, then follow the prompt to give now. Let us be grateful when we are able to give, for many do not have that privilege. Let us be grateful for those who share their gifts with us, for we are enriched by their giving. Let us be grateful, even for our need, so that we may learn from the generosity of others.
Everyone. My name is Gail Crawford, and I proudly serve as one of the worship associates at UUCA. And I also proudly serve our nation as a member of the United States Armed Forces. As a member of UUCA, I'm always so happy when Sunday comes so that I can gather my family and we march our brood into the sanctuary right up front to where Reverend Teresa has joked me as our spot. I love walking into the sanctuary. I believe it's one of the most beautiful spaces that I've visited. The wide openness that it is, the high ceilings immediately lift my spirit when I enter that space. The huge high windows that offer an almost panoramic view of the trees sort of peeking into the sanctuary, the chalice, the candles, the flowers, the beautiful hues inside the building of slate and almond and purple and azure. Each time I walk in, I'm immediately reminded to take a deep breath and relax into this place of worship. One of my most favorite parts about being a worship associate is when I come in early in the mornings when no one is in the sanctuary yet. I get to come in and breathe it all in and do my part to put the finishing touches before the congregation starts to trickle in. I love when I walk into the building and I can hear Sophia brushing something beautiful onto the keyboard and into the space. I can always count on Walter to say something that makes me laugh out loud. And I can always count on Reverend Teresa to say something that pricks my conscience and calls me to being a better human. The songs and the hymnal, the beautiful music from the musicians, the smattering of the choir members whose voices I can hear as we sing songs, musicians who are visiting. I miss it all so much, and I miss you all so much. As a service member, I am duty bound to serve this nation and answer its call, whatever that is, whether it be uprooting my family to move to another place and serve that mission, or even to make the ultimate sacrifice for this country that I love. But I am mindful during these trying times that what I owe to the taxpayers, some of whom have lost their jobs, is my unwavering support to keep America, her allies and friends, safe and to keep her enemies at bay. As an officer, I have taken an oath to defend the Constitution and our nation against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And what we can see is that pandemic is no less formidable a foe to this nation and to the world. What I can tell you about my day-to-day life is that I work for senior leaders who have dedicated their lives and work hard every day to protect us all from whomever or whatever threatens America. We are not a homogeneous group as military members, as Department of Defense civilian employees. Some of us are teleworking full-time. Some of us are going into our office full-time. Some of us are doing a combination of that. Many of us are doing the best we can with the shutdown of childcare facilities and schools, but all of us are dedicated. What I've learned from my colleagues at work is that no matter how dark things seem out there, the resolve of the United States military is strong. And what I gather from them is this amazing strength and fortitude to get up every day and to try and make a difference in keeping America safe and strong. But what I've learned from UUCA during this time that we have not been able to assemble together physically is that UUCA, this church, you guys are in my heart. I mentioned earlier how much I love walking into the building, and what I feel each time that I walk into the sanctuary. And what I've come up with is that what I feel when I walk into that space is love and light. You guys are an amazing group of people, and you assemble into that beautiful place and show love and support. And it's just such a privilege to be a part of such a loving community that is so filling, especially during these times of isolation and emptiness. And so my hope today is that my reflection sends back to you the love and light that you give to me and my family. I'm sharing one of my favorite passages from the poet Hafiz, and it's from my heart to all of UUCA. Do you know how beautiful you are? I think not, my dear. For as you talk of God, I see great parades with wildly colorful bands streaming from your mind and heart, carrying wonderful and secret messages to every corner of the world. I see saints bowing in the mountains, hundreds of miles away, to the wonder of sounds that break into the light from your most common words. Speak to me of your mother, your cousins, your friends. Tell me of squirrels and birds you know. Awaken your legion of nightingales. Let them soar wild and free in the sky and begin to sing to God. Let's all begin to sing to God. Do you know how beautiful you are? I think not, my dear. Yet Hafiz could set you upon a stage and worship you forever. Thank you so much, everybody. Hang in there. Love and light and joy to you all. I look forward to being in our beautiful spaces again together soon.
I'm invisible and I like it. Don't feel sorry for me. I'm invisible, look right through me. Tell me what you see. I grow in the dark. Light passes through. I grow in the dark. Light passes through. I'm invisible, I can see you even if you're unknown. I'm invisible, looking through you, shadows on gray stone. I grow in the dark. Light passes through. I grow in the dark. Light passes through. Pale as the moon, transparent like water, dark as a phantom song. I'm invisible, uncontainable, just turn around. Look and see my shade and glory, hear the shadows sound. I grow in the dark. Light passes through. I grow in the dark. Light passes through.
Gay Gibson Chima, one of your worship associates, and I'm very happy to be with you this morning. Like you, I'm adjusting to major changes in my day-to-day life. I try to picture what you're facing. Maybe you're trying to homeschool and work from home and keep in touch with your parents. Maybe you're wondering how you'll pay your bills through a period of unemployment. Maybe you're anxiously still commuting to a job deemed essential, or expecting a baby at this difficult time. Maybe you're missing a field trip or your graduation ceremony. Maybe you're praying the virus doesn't infiltrate your retirement home or nursing home, and maybe you're hovering over a loved one who has the virus, or you're fighting it yourself. Whatever your situation, please know that your church community holds you in the light and sends you love. The well-loved 13th century Persian poet Rumi said it this way: love is the house of God, and you are living in that house. In our home, love lights the way, even through this very dark, dangerous time. A couple of weeks ago, I was running around my backyard with my 3-year-old granddaughter, reveling in the prospect of spending the next 6 weeks alone with her. Now I'm home alone. I walk twice a day, I ride my bike, I prepare healthy meals for myself. I'm fine. Never have I felt my privilege so keenly. And each day I work to contribute to the common good. In my core, I believe that even in this unsettling time, there is love in our daily lives to ignite our way forward. I wonder where you find it. Maybe in the smile of a stranger, or in the letters that you write to decision makers, or in a home-cooked meal delivered to your hotel. Well, I find love in the kindness and laughter of my family, friends, and church community. I even dare to feel hope. The great Czech statesman Václav Havel defines hope as a feeling that life and work have meaning. You either have it or you don't, regardless of the state of the world that surrounds you. Now, this sort of hope, it seems to me, transforms not only individuals, but also the very structures within which we live. As Unitarian Universalists, we know that our lives have meaning. We live in an interdependent web. We love each other and hold each other in the light regardless of the state of the world. Rumi says it this way: in your light, I learn how to love. But how? How do we love now? Well, for me, it's partly about kindness. The 19th century French novelist George Sand advised, know how to give without hesitation. Yes, but it's important to give first to ourselves, to be kind to ourselves, which means knowing our limits, asking for help, pampering ourselves with little pleasures. Then, and only then, can we give to others near and far. Sarah Mapps Douglas, an early 19th century free black activist, called this compassion for ourselves. And she believed that it would deepen into a cosmopolitan love for others that would demolish the institution, the global institution of slavery. Political philosophers Michael Hart and Antonio Negri similarly expand the idea of ordinary kindness into a love of the multitude, a deployment of force that redefines the human and acts as the basis for the construction of a new society. And this political and material sense of love does not mean you cannot love your spouse, your mother, your child. It only means that your love does not end there. We UUs already know this, and that powerful kindness illuminates our way. I've witnessed so much love and human kindness lately, and so many people giving their time, their talents, their treasures, their hand sanitizer. Seriously, a few weeks ago, I was at the CVS. I asked when a shipment of hand sanitizer might come in, and the young clerk dashed to the break room and came back out with one of her 2 personal hand sanitizers and gave it to me. Sheer kindness. My covenant group leader has launched a daily email so we don't feel so isolated. Some women friends I met at work have set up a weekly Zoom happy hour. My neighbors left a basket of bread and bananas on my porch. My son and daughter, juggling, working online and taking care of their toddlers, carve out time somehow to FaceTime with me. Look, I don't need to fly off anywhere. I can visit the scary monsters in toddler land. I feel surrounded by kindness, by the love and the power of this church community. Kindness will get us through. And laughter. One of my 4-year-old neighbors just raced past my porch the other day on a 3-wheel electric, shocking pink motorcycle, her hair streaming behind her. And her parents looked directly at me and laughed. We may be stressed about our health, our finances, our jobs, our families, the gaps in leadership in fighting this virus. But that beautiful child, that paragon of pleasure in her shocking pink, was absolutely happy, careening past as I laughed out loud with her parents. And in that shared laughter, all of us found joy. It's hard for me to put into words what that moment meant to me. Suddenly, I wasn't an older woman home alone in the midst of a pandemic. I was a neighbor, surrounded by families, loved, noticed, a part of something larger, something life-giving. Within our community, we are building something larger, something that gives this dark ghost time meaning, something that redefines who gets to be seen as fully human, something that loves us and holds us in the light. Our kindness and our laughter will sustain us. Rumi was right. In your light, I learn how to love.
Our benediction today is by Maureen Killeran. As we weather winds of change, may we have wisdom to cherish moments of stillness. As we recollect times of challenge and of pain, may we remember also the graceful blessings of our lives. As we look to future unknown, may we have the boldness to trust that there is unimagined good yet to come.
Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love.